everybody, to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, with my boys, the Welsh and Dark Joe Orrico. That's right, I don't know what's going on there. Dark days up in Toronto as the Blue Jays try to hang on there to first place. And yes, it's so good to be back here talking baseball with all of you, the Peanuts and the Cracker Jacks. I missed you all, and I really mean that from the bottom of my heart. We love the baseball show here. It is and always has been a labor of love. And we want to share that love with the audience today and kind of look back at the 2025 season, what's going on through the weekend. My Mets barely hanging on by a thread by themselves as well. They've got to do it, right? They got to start off great this year, get my expectations up, then pull me back down to earth, then give me hope again, sweeping the Phillies, and then crush my hopes again. And now tease me at the end of the year on my birthday. So you know what, Mets? Just once, can we just win like 98 games and just sail into the playoffs? That'd be fun. But Welsh, good to see you, my friend. The hair looks spectacular today. I know we're going to talk about some of our favorite things this year. We're going to talk about some of these prospects too at the end of the year. And Joe Orrico, I just want to check in with you and all the faithful up above the north border there. How's Blue Jay Nation doing? How are you holding up? Remember, just get in the playoffs. Anything can happen from then on, Joe.
Hypothetically, sure, but this is looking real bad, man. It's funny. Everybody I host shows with, that all their teams are just going down the tubes at the end of the season. I guess the Diamondbacks are still kind of hanging around for Welsh, but the Mets,
come on.
Bubba and Justin Mason, my other co-host, Giants, Paul Sporer, Tigers, I need to find some new co-hosts or something. We're all a bunch of losers.
The Mets are in the playoffs. The Diamondbacks just got blown out 8-0 by the
Jays. The Blue Jays are too, but they're toast.
You're like, they're all losing. Diamondbacks are doing okay. The Diamondbacks are the only ones that are out of the playoffs that you just talked about, and they're
Giants
2 games out.
Giants.
No, Diamondbacks are done. Mets are going to be fine. Baseball's amazing right now. If you're, I don't know, like how tuned in everybody. Well, I know everyone's like locked into their fantasy stuff, and fantasy seasons are coming to a close. Which, by the way, thank you. I've gotten lots of those. Like, we got first place. Thank you for the season. I see that in the chat as well. It's awesome. But there's also incredible baseball going on and finishing out this year. You've got a tied series between the Guardians and Tigers, or at least they are tied for the division where one of those teams can be knocked. The East is still crazy. You've got this last spot in the NL. It's going to be pretty awesome, and it's coming down to the wire. So God love baseball, baby.
Yes, and Michael Impo saying, Jorio, Welsh is the cream filling between two Joes. That's gross. But accurate. And we're going to talk about some of these standings, where they are. And of course, we're going to talk about some of our favorite plays and the ones that did us dirty here at the end of the season as well. But please, if you've been with us all year, appreciation time, wherever you listen to your podcasts, wherever you are, drop a 5-star review, right, of the show. We appreciate that. It does go a long way. And we're going to have off-season baseball coverage, too. We actually just had a meeting yesterday about that plan. So we're not going dark on the channel. So if you haven't, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because most of the content will be on there in the off-season.
Real quick, too.
Quick.
Yeah.
Welsh is going to be at Arizona Fall League, working out with the guys, taking some BP. He's going to be there. We're going to have a lot of that action there. We're going to have Joe Orrico, live from somewhere deep in the forest, I believe, in Canada and Saskatchewan, trying to figure out what happened to the Blue Jays. And look, the Black Book's going to be working too. We're going to be starting to work on that next month too. So baseball never sleeps around here. Just want to let everybody know. Welsh, I want to start with the MVP race, because look at Joe Orrico. Yeah. So all three of us, again, will be working on that project this year. I want to start with the MVP in the American League, because I got to say, at one point, I want to say the Aaron Judge number was like minus 20,000 Welsh. It was like absurd. We just kind of said, oh, it's over. And we kept making the case. Like, well, what if Aaron Judge gets hurt? Or what if Cal Raleigh really keeps this up? Cal Raleigh's a catcher. And here we are, the last weekend of the season, and looking at the odds for that: Cal Raleigh minus 190, Aaron Judge plus 155. I mean, if I had a vote, I'd be voting for Cal Raleigh anyway. I understand the Judge argument. The batting average is higher. Some of the peripherals are higher. But it's not because Cal Raleigh has so many more home runs. It's because Cal Raleigh is also a catcher. And I think that is something you have to take into account. He has carried this team on his back. Not that Judge has not. But I just think to me, he is undeniable. Welsh, let's start with you here. AL MVP race. If you got a vote, who are you voting for?
Yeah, for the last month, been on some CBS Sports HQ talking baseball. If people have been able to check that out, and I've been asked this question multiple times, and every single time it's been Cal Raleigh, and had to be Orrico because when we were doing the betting pro shows throughout the year, like a once a month check in, Orrico is a lot more like table slammy about Cal Raleigh getting this. The funny thing is though, I had painted this scenario. I was actually kind of pushing up Tariq Skubal a little bit a couple months back. But one of the big things I was saying that worried me about Cal and taking the bet was that he would fall off in the second half. And from a batting average standpoint and from a consistency on that, he did. Like he was hitting like 210 after the All-Star break for like a month. It was bad, but the ball just kept flying. And what he's done, like I was taking a look at deep dives into all these guys. Cal has got one of the highest launch angles in all of baseball while putting up like well above average, like barrel and hard hit. Now, like all those look really good. They're not Judge-esque, but they're really good while being able to pull and get the ball in the air at a bigger degree than anybody else. So, that has like maintained this ridiculous 60 home run marker. But just getting back to what you were saying before, yes, Judge has got an absurd like 346 slash. His OPS is over like 1100, but Cal Raleigh has more RBI. He has more homers. He's within a full WAR point. Actually, Judge added a little bit, but the defensive value rating, I checked 2 days ago. It was 7th highest in all of baseball for Cal Raleigh. So considering that, he's DHing, he's catching, his defensive rating is up. He has the most valuable singular player for their team. I think it's easy, Cal Raleigh, but I did find it interesting. Jeff Passan said the other day, if he had a vote, he would still go with Judge. And it was cited purely on those offensive, the OPS numbers, the 346 slash. And I don't know where you take that. Is that where the voters are going to go? Is it a good bet to go on Judge right now?
No, it's tough. Judge is where the value is. But from a fantasy perspective, I mean, going into next year, Joe, I mean, where's Cal Raleigh go? Like, who's your top 5 overall on your board next year? Is Cal Raleigh in there based off this 60 home run season?
You talking
already?
fantasy or?
I'm talking fantasy now for Joe. I'm curious,
top
Joe.
5?
Do you have?
I can't go with quite that high. Off the top of my head, the top 5 would be Ohtani, Judge, Witt, Soto, J-Ram. I could tinker around a little bit there, 3 to 5. But Raleigh, what he's done, I think he's a conversation at, like, if you're picking at the turn, if you're at the end of the first round, especially if it's a 2-catcher league. If it's a league where you only have to start 1 catcher, taking him in the first round, I don't really love doing that. If you're playing in deeper leagues, 2-catcher formats, and you take him, in the top 20-ish area between 15 and 20, I could get behind it. But this also feels like a little bit of a risk, right? Whenever you buy off of the career year on the high price, it is a bit of a risk. His batting average could be 220 next year. He could hit 32 home runs, which would still be a very good season, but it would be like a 6th or 7th round value, kind of where he's been the last couple of years. So buying off of the peak season is not something I ever really want to do. Kind of reminds me a little bit of when Matt Olson went crazy a couple of years ago. Okay. And then he was a 1st, 2nd rounder, and he returned 3rd or 4th round value. That's kind of what I would expect from Cal. But he's been brilliant. If he gets the MVP, I would have
tough
no
in those
problem.
2-catcher leagues, especially too. Not to look at Cal Raleigh as such an advantage.
Different
he
argument,
is literally like having 2 catchers.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a different argument if you do that. Bogman and I over on In This League, we're doing the way too early mock, which I think will be for like Monday. Taking a look, we're doing a full-on draft, and Cal did not go in the first round, but he was the 3rd pick in the 2nd round. And I think we're doing only 12 team on this, so that is like a 15-team first rounder wheel pick, like you guys said. I think like I'm open to it more than I've been before. I'm not into catchers, especially drafting high. I'm usually a big fade. And if you look at a lot of the catchers that are not named Cal Raleigh that you got off the scrap heap or the wire that have Ivan Herrera, Agustin Ramirez. I mean, you go down the list, it's huge values, but he is different because when he is not catching, he's out there every single day DHing. I still don't know if I would take him that early in the 2nd, but I do think that wheel of the 2nd, 3rd is a spot I'd like, but I don't think I'll get him because I think he is a lockdown top 20 player next year.
His RPV is going to be off the chart though, because he's got twice as many home runs as the next catcher. He has got 109 runs scored compared to 89. William Contreras, and believe it or not, like William Contreras ended up scoring 89 runs for everybody complaining about William Contreras most of the year. So that ended up coming back around the second half of the season. It is a stunning accomplishment and a stunning year for him. I want to talk about some of our favorite players that really kind of, carried our teams this year. I know my home league, I made it to Made it to the LCS, did not get to the World Series, lost there, got blown out. What are you going to do? Happens. But two guys really stood out for me. Is like, this was the year that I was so happy to have both these guys on that team. And we talked about these guys all draft season, and especially early on, how aggressive to be on them in early going via trade or via waiver wire. And for me, it's Nick Kurtz, who ended up with a spectacular season. I think you look back at Nick Kurtz and another couple home runs yesterday, right? We just kind of, I was like, yep, this is just what I'm going to do, or I'm just going to continue to hit home runs at a ridiculous pace. A terrific season for him. And then Junior Caminero, another one too, where I think you look back at the Caminero season, 44 homers, 109 RBI. Welsh, I mean, to me, those were my guys like that. I just said, look, these are my dudes. And Caminero, again, last year, very disappointing. This year, very slow start. People were really panicking in April. People were trolling you about Junior Caminero. Meanwhile, I felt like I was the Junior Caminero guy.
Dude,
and then
where was that
Kurtz,
guy? Where is that
I don't
guy
know,
now?
But Kurtz ending up with, a short season because he did miss some time and he came up, later in, was it April or beginning of May? I can't remember. But Nick Kurtz ending up with 35 homers, hitting 293 and 1,010 OPS. I mean, those are two guys next year that are going to be, I think, highly coveted cornerstone pieces for years to come in fantasy leagues.
Yeah. So you want me to rock a couple of my guys?
Yeah.
Here?
Or you could talk about how wonderful Nick Kurtz is too. I mean, that's
I'm a huge, obviously, into Nick Kurtz. I was trying to promote as much as I possibly can, and now he's looking like close to a first round pick. I mean, if you want to talk about moments on this show, by the way, all-time moment was that guy coming in and screaming at me about forcing him to draft Caminero. Like, he was like, he was like, there's like little banter where some of you guys think you're coming in and being funny, and then you're not, and then you're like, whoops, my bad. And then, there are people that are coming in hot. He was coming in hot, and I was like, what? And called him out on it. And then it's just, look at this now. And then, we had the Carlos wonky. Two guys I'll throw out to you that I think are interesting that kind of highlight to me. One, a hitter. I know it kind of tapered off, but just to, we talked about it in the preseason. Pete Crow Armstrong was one that I had highlighted as like a big breakout. And I think we might have done a review of what that show looked like. Not a ton of hits, but I did put Pete Crow Armstrong, and he's close to finishing with a 29-35 season. And then I'm just going to throw this out to you. This guy, 140 innings not expected this year, a sub-4 ERA, which is really impressive, and well over a 6-game stretch of being good. Let's give a hat tip to Jack Leiter, Mr. Joe Pisapia, with a 3.92 ERA, 140 innings, finishing out the year, getting 6. I mean, I see some stretches in here with quality starts. Looks a little bit less Nepo-y and a little bit more usable.
He does. I can't wait to draft him next year. I'm going to have so many shares of the Jack Leiter next year. It's funny. Pete Crow Armstrong, a guy that we talked about, and he was one of my sell highs at the break because of those numbers against left-handed pitching and some of those other deeper stats. Last 59 games for Pete Crow, 4 home runs, 20 RBI, hit just 207 with a 594 OPS after the break. Those are some dreadful numbers. We're talking like full off the map kind of numbers. So he's going to be a really, I think, divisive guy next year, because I'm sure that the cost you got him this year, he was a league winner anyway, especially in season long. He gave you everything you could have possibly asked for and more in return. But next year it's going to be at cost, and that cost is going to be fascinating. Joe Orrico, 2025. As Oprah always likes to talk about her favorite things, what were some of your favorite things? Hitters, pitchers, whatever you'd like to discuss here on the show today.
So the first thing I'll bring up and just put a bow on it for the year is Jacob deGrom. I was very, very bullish on deGrom, to the point where I got too bullish on him, and I had him as my number 1 starting pitcher heading into the season. The reason for that is because I thought the strikeouts were still going to be higher. I thought we'd see a 30+% strikeout rate from Jake. And I think if he had got that number, we might have seen him as a top 2, 3, 4 starting pitcher. I was overly bullish, and I think I can kind of try and take my little victory lap because he was good, but at the same time, I overestimated Jacob deGrom. So I don't want to go all out and say, like, look at me, look how smart I am, because I overestimated him, and I think I need to just put a bow on that. He had a great year. I don't think anybody who drafted Jacob deGrom because of me is upset about it, but I was also a little bit too high on Jake. Great season from him, and he's
pitched in so long, Joe. So the last 60 innings for DeGrom, 11 starts there, 72 strikeouts still, just 13 walks. He had a .94 whip. I mean, look, there were some games where maybe he just ran out of gas, but I think that's just the fatigue, don't you think, of not pitching for so many years, a full season.
No, but also like he changed as a pitcher. That's a big thing that ended up happening.
Sure.
And I think that's the crux of it is like he went from being this just gas can pitcher where it's fastballs and sliders all day long. He started throwing the changeup. He dialed it back down. That allowed him to go deeper into games. I think he had dropped some velo as well. Like he figured out a maintenance plan and how to still be good. And that was at the expense of some of the strikeouts, but he was still a really great pitcher. I mean, can you imagine telling anybody that DeGrom would have had 170 innings at the end of this year? Everyone would have lost their mind. And I know, but it happened. It ended up happening. And he just altered who he was as a pitcher. And it really worked out. And I think this is the formula moving forward. So he's not going to be a number one. I don't think he can sniff that conversation. But next year, the conversation around him is going to be fascinating because it's like he is less of a strikeout equity guy, but he was able to stay healthy. And, you know, we've seen pitchers do this. Like Verlander did it in his career. Kershaw kind of did it where, you know, they're getting older and they've got to like change something. And we'll see, did that change by DeGrom a couple more years? And I think he's a lot more fantasy relevant. So it was a good call. He's not the number one, but like you said, no one's going to be pissed about it. And he's just he's a new guy. He's a new man.
So also speaking of new, you had a lot of young pitchers here in the month of September pop off. So if a lot of teams were out of their playoffs and not paying attention, you know, you had the Noel McLean, who in 5 starts in the month of September struck out 36 guys now. You've had Kate Horton with a terrific second half. Emmett Sheehan pitching to a sub 1.5 ERA in his last 24 innings. You got the kids in Boston. You got your Savage showing.
I got one for you, Joey, that I don't know if you can do. He is like a mascot of our show this year. Bubba Chandler. We talked about Bubba Chandler so damn much. And the Pirates really dropped the ball, but also it might have been about the stuff. Bubba Chandler came out when he finally made his debut. What was it, the 22nd of August? Comes out in relief. He was great. They put him in this relief kind of situation where he ended up in his first two starts. You know, he was piggybacking. He went 8 innings with 6 strikeouts, 1 walk, and 3 hits. That was awesome. Then they put him in a starting role, gets absolutely blown out. And this is why I'm saying this, because this is important. Guy's got a 4.5 ERA right now, but he got blown up in that Milwaukee in his very first start. Then he bounced back in his next 2 starts. He's gone 11 innings with 13 strikeouts, 3 hits, no walks, 1 earned run, and he even went 5 innings, no hit during that. Bubba Chandler looks sneaky because everybody was kind of out on him. Everyone's got this fatigue, and his numbers are going to be inflated by that one, his very first major league start where he got blown out, but his fastball looks incredible. His confidence is back. That's a dude that I don't know how people are going to treat him in the offseason, but the end, I mean, you know, like you said, Nolan McLean, I think has been one of the more incredible ones, but Bubba Chandler in the hype and the stuff that's out there, I think has put himself in a really good position for next year in that big grouping of amazing young pitchers. You didn't mention Jonah Tong had a run, just great young pitchers.
You know, Tong was so dominant in the minor leagues. I'm concerned with him too. Like, is this just fatigue? Is it just intimidation? You know, he's had some moments and then some other ones where he's gotten his doors blown off. I'm still very much in on Tong for next year. Joe, who were the young pitchers that really stood out to you here in the second half that you are going to be very aggressive on in 2026?
One guy who is kind of in the same boat of there was one blow up start that kind of ruins the whole line is Cade Cavalli, who's been somebody that I've been starting in a lot of leagues down the stretch here. The strikeouts have not been great. It's like a 17% strikeout rate. 4.23 ERA doesn't look that great on the surface, but it really, all that damage came in that Yankee start. 7 earned runs over 2 1/3. Every other start this year has been at least 5 innings with 3 or fewer earned runs outside of his very first start. So I'm interested in Cade Cavalli if I'm looking ahead to next year. I don't think that he's going to be too expensive because the surface stats will keep some people away. The stuff grades out very well. He limits hard contact better than almost anybody. 3% barrel rate, 39% hard hit rate against. A lot of the underlying data is really, really supportive for him. And the Nationals as a whole, I think, you know, I was expecting a better year from them this year, but I think they're trending in the right direction. So it could be a better team in 2026 as well.
One thing to look for, and sorry, I know you jump at this, but Joe, you're going to be doing the pitching profiles here very shortly for the Black Book. So you're going to be dialed into pitching. Just a theory thought for next season is that I think there's going to be this glut of upside that's going to exist. And that I usually don't feel like we have that because none of these rookies are going to vault themselves into being like top 20 or top 25 pitchers for the most
not
part.
at all.
Like Mizorowski, it's a different story. Chase Burns had so he'll bounce back. But my point here is you're going to have the Bubbas, the McLeans, the Trey Savages. You're going to have this group of these pitchers that
ace strategy. I feel like,
but no, but
just kind of hey, I'm going to make a pitching late, and you're just going to keep taking shots.
Kind of. But my point to this is like all of those guys with this crazy upside are going to exist, and it might be something where you can avoid the pitching at the top of the draft, and then you can take some of those boring guys, the Logan Webbs, the Joe Ryans. I mean, Peralta vaulted himself up. You take a couple guys that are just fine with high floors, and then you can take your shot on upside with some of these pitchers in later rounds like Bubba and everybody that get pressed. And that might be a really good winning strategy instead of having high investment on pitching. So we're always pushing away high investing on pitching for the most part. You know, if you take Skubal and Skeens, that's fine. But there might be even more reason if you want to kind of go all out, take those floor guys when everybody else is trying to have fun and being like, no, I want, Garrett Crochet now in the, first round. You just get some floor guys and you might be able to get some winners here in the Bubbas. And there are guys that are going to come up next year, which we will be talking the crap out of in the offseason of the prospects that you're going to need.
I love how Matt is trolling me in the chat because I'm sure Matt knows the 2007 and 2008 collapses of the Mets happened to be against the Marlins. And of course, who we playing this weekend? The Marlins. Now, luckily, it's not at home, so maybe that's the exercising of the demons. We shall see. Joe Orrico, help Papa J out here. Starting pitcher worth streaming today or tomorrow. You got Rogers against the Yankees. What a season he's had. Ciccone, also another strong season from him. Early at Detroit. So what do you think about these options here?
Hey, yo. He even threw in a hey, yo. Remember the old
hey,
days?
Yo.
Hey, yo.
When you used to start the shows with hey, yo, I miss those days. That's when I was Jack.
You went off of that this year, I think. I don't remember hey, yo.
This year, years ago, our old boss, who is no longer here, didn't care for that.
The one I'm thinking of?
The one you're thinking of.
Really?
Our direct boss.
Hey, yo's.
Hey,
yo. Of you. You know what? 2026.
He's no longer here. I am, but
2026. Hey, yo's. I want to come back on this show.
Hey, yo. What's up, everybody?
Yes, I missed it.
I don't know. It's more of a, maybe it's too Mad Dog Radio. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I like it. I enjoyed it.
Too much. You're doing too much. You got to calm down a little bit. The thing that radio, the YouTube. Damn it.
Papa J, apologies for derailing that conversation, but I think it's got to be. I know. What can I say? I think it's got to be Trevor Rogers, man. With the way he's been rolling, I like Slade Ciccone. Texas has been piss poor and early. It gives me a little bit of pause.
I love that expression, piss poor.
But I think it's got to be Trevor Rogers. The fact that Trevor Rogers is even available for streaming is rather remarkable. But
I agree, but I want to also point out the Tigers just got their first win in like 9 games or 8 games. They have been absolutely atrocious. Early has been disgusting. I don't know if you want to put your season on a rookie. The Yankees are vying for this division title. So I'm not trying to make a case against Rogers is the best pitcher here, but I also think Early is someone to consider if Red Sox do a little pounding on the Tigers because they have been bad.
All right. So what was your biggest disappointment of 2025, Joe Orrico? Do you have a player that you were all in on that really just let you down at the end of the day? Who was that?
That would be Mr. Jonathan India. I drafted him as much as I drafted. So my 3 most drafted players were DeGrom, yes, Bichette, yes, and Jonathan India, who I had on almost every team. I thought it was a late source of runs. I thought he was going to steal a little bit, leading off in Kansas City. 8 homers, no steals, 233 batting average, 42 ribbies, a huge L, a massive L on Jonathan India. It didn't cost me a ton based on where he was being drafted, but I have him everywhere. So that one has been really my personally most disappointing one of the year, I think.
Welsh, for me, it's Sandy Alcantara. I thought, he looked sharp in spring. I thought we would be all right here. I was like, maybe he's not going to give me as many innings as I want this year. Maybe we'll cap him or something like that. But the innings I'll get will be quality. And he ended up with a 10-12 record and a 5.48 ERA, a 1.28 WHIP, only 139 strikeouts and 167 innings. Again, he wasn't a guy of super cost, but he was a guy that was very aggressive on him and McClanahan. McClanahan, obviously, we know what happened there. But Alcantara, to me, was the one that really hurt. I knew what I was getting into with McClanahan, having multiple Tommy Johns and all the risk that was there. With Sandy, it felt like, buy him back in. Everybody's pushing away. This is the guy. It didn't work out. How about for you? Is there a guy that you just say, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple like the fantasy side. Strider really stands out to me, and Cease, just making excuses for Cease all year. Strider just did not have his stuff, and that was it. I would have said McClanahan too, because I was definitely into buying on him. Strider just never got back to being that main guy. This one is not fantasy-ish relevant. It's way more betting relevant, and I only say this because we were able to cut this guy in the first week and a half, but I have reminders all season long about Michael Tolia and my dumbass take of Michael Tolia, because I got this season long little bet.
I fell in love with the power. Chicks dig the long ball, and so does the Welsh.
I fell in love with a guy that was close to 40 homers, who had a 240 expected batting average, 30-point increase in Colorado. I did. I love the long ball, and I got all these like little sprinkly things in our hot takes episode, our breakout. I had all this Tolia stuff out there. Blah. Blah. It's gross. It's such a stupid take of mine. Never again. But yeah, I think like Strider and Cease were the first one you said that came to mind, where it was like, man, yeah, Sandy's a good one. Like these pitchers that we were giving the benefit of the doubt, and it never materialized.
Yeah, certainly some good, some bad, some ugly, all of the above. And you know, it's very cathartic to sit here at the end of the year too and think about draft season, how excited we all were. I got to tell you the truth, like I can't wait till next week to start digging into the pitchers. I cannot wait to start writing black book stuff. I can't, and I'll be on Amazon December 15th as always. I can't wait to start working with all you guys again on that. I can't wait for our off-season coverage. I'm very excited about all of that, and I'm excited that we have off-season coverage, that baseball is not the redheaded stepchild anymore, Fantasy Pros, and it's really because of all the peanuts and the Cracker Jacks who watched this show, who followed us to YouTube Live, who followed us to Twitch, who followed us everywhere we went, no matter where it made sense. And it's been awesome. It's been a phenomenal ride. It's by far, I think, the best baseball community. And I'm going to say that. And I don't care what anybody has to tell me. I won't hear differently, because it's a baseball community that understands that we can be smart and have good conversations, have passionate disagreements, but also have a really good time doing it and bring some entertainment to
where we can wear luchador masks. We can wear luchador masks
and mullet wigs. Like, yeah, and these are things that we can do and still have a baseball show. And
I'm gonna second a lot of that stuff. Everybody keep tuned, because we've already got episodes planned for October. Mm-hmm. We're a little over a month from the Arizona Fall League, which I'm gonna be out live pretty much every single day. We'll have shorts. 2 months from now, we're gonna have the pitch conference. Orrico's coming out. We're probably gonna do some episodes together. So we are talking from October starting in. We're already hitting baseball hard. That was weird. Like the season's not even over in 3 days. We're talking about it, but it's just more coverage probably than we've had in maybe even in the past or collectively to last year. But we're rocking with it, and hopefully keep. I have some things to live up to, Joe, because I know we're coming to the end here. But like the most important thing, and Matt said he's tailed with me. You said he's tailed with me. I have to go a third straight year of having my monster bet. 2 years ago, Ellie De La Cruz lead the league in stolen bases, cash. This year, Garrett Crochet to lead the league in strikeouts. He is up by 13, and Skubal is lined up to pitch on Sunday. We need not 13 strikeouts from Skubal, and we cash a second straight year. That is what I'm going for.
I think I already cashed my big-time Brewers bet. Told everybody back in June, I think it was June something where I bet this, because I saw the little date thing. I was like, oh, remember when everybody thought the Brewers were done? Well, guess what? They cashed before everybody else. And to leave on a high note, I didn't even realize this.
This is not.
But we got to look at the home run board. Throw that bad boy up there, Seth. Look at this. Bada boom. Who's on there? Top 20, Joey P. Thanks, Big Dumper. Shout out to you. So Whips is still at the top here. 2 home run lead over Grouch and Bees. So we'll see how that shakes up. Again, the Sammy Sosa jersey up for grabs. So hopefully one of you beautiful people will win that. But I'm just happy to end up on the board right behind Wonky Penguin. It's a beautiful thing. I can't get enough of it. And speaking of Wonky, shout out to Wonky Penguin. Shout out to Mayor. Shout out to Joe Orrico, Casey Bubba, everybody who keeps this channel going here too, and all the content that they all provide. It's really spectacular. And yeah, man, like I said, it's been a great season. Our numbers were off the charts this year. Blew everybody out of the water. And it's really because of everybody who's here on the YouTube channel, who's listening to the podcast. We appreciate you. And we're just going to keep bringing it in 2026. We're excited for it. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For Joe Orrico and the Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Baseball! Woo!
You guys want more baseball content? Let us know, baby. Drop it. Drop it below.
Yeah.
And final thing, thank you to Ryan Bloomfield, Chris Towers, and Casey Bubba for helping me out with the guest spots. Great job from
Yeah,
everybody.
good peoples. Let's go.